Everybody, the first match of the WGL EU Week 5 is already done, and it's Castor Crew falling disappointingly short of the standard that they've already set over the last 4 weeks. As Tornado rocks with a commanding performance, and they have actually exceeded the standard they themselves have set.
Yeah, I thought Tornado Rocks had a good match. They played well. They played interesting stuff. A few good tactics here. Kazler getting a little bit too big for their boots. Some questionable tactics on Prokhorovka. Strange stuff on Himmelsdorf as well. And kind of being themselves in many respects. But, Tornado finally getting themselves off to a good start. I mean, halfway through the season, they need to be getting these consistent wins in. They need to be starting to get those points across as, the next team behind Kazler is on 9 points. So they're 1 match day ahead in terms of win. And the team behind them right now is what we're going to be seeing up against Strong which is Ding.
Yes, Ding, of course, finding their way up towards the top echelons of our season rankings after a very, very good first 4 weeks. And this match as well, I mean, they're going to be going up against, up against Strong Siema, get confused, who honestly just have been languishing down the bottom. It's just been really, really average stuff from them here as well. I mean, if tonight's theme has been anything to go by, then it's time for them to start to shape up and maybe even get some points on the board.
For sure. I think Strong Siema, I thought they would be getting better this season. Their lineup is not that different from the previous season. Strong Siema, they did okay. They got out of those relegation zones. They managed to play, a good, decent set of matches, and some of their results were okay. But this season, I mean, this has just been very bad stuff from them. Communication's been bad. The tactics don't seem to be executed properly. They don't even seem to understand their own tactics. And I hope they can get themselves out that rut.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, I kind of think I know what a vote would look like in this kind of matchup, Melly, but we're going to find out for realsies anyway.
Realsies?
Yes.
That's a new one. Haven't heard that one before. But well, we're all learning. It's, what was it? 57% for Strong and 43% for Ding.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe
that wasn't what you were expecting.
No, of course not. Yeah, I came in saying I think I know how this is going to go, and okay, that's not really what I would have expected. What are your thoughts, Melly? Why exactly we see?
I have no clue. I can't tell you. Pretty much. That's I'll keep refreshing it, and it stays kind of the same.
F5,
it's very
F5.
Yeah, exactly. It's very balanced, and I would have expected a Polish fan base would have kind of pulled towards Strong at some
that's
point.
true.
But that's different from the vote before.
Well, I mean, Castor Crew had strong results to go on anyway, but they always do get a pretty high vote from their fans. I mean, they're a likable team. I mean, the fact that you get to see their faces at finals and stuff like that, and they're very endearing.
They've been around for a long time as well,
yeah.
And they're not Russian speakers. They're more, normal like European speakers. They speak, the German. We've got some Serbian, some Croatian
in there.
So
Bosnian.
it's more of a mixed team, which kind of makes them more endearing to more countries and more parts.
A wider appeal.
It's Europe, so you've got different language-speaking communities within World of Tanks, which makes it unique to the rest of the world. So it's always good to have a player from every single country, basically, in Europe, because you have got a whole community behind that player.
I mean, like we said, they've also got a guy from Germany, Finland, and Sweden in the mix as well.
Yeah.
Aliens from Poland, so they definitely represent a good snapshot of the European region in that team.
You need that UK player, then they're done.
Yep, good luck. I mean, geez, when was the last time we had a C-Play? I think C-Play actually had one British guy in their team. Do you remember that when Daki was in the team with the pink hat?
Purple Shift, yeah.
Was it Purple Shift?
Yeah, he was in TCM.
No, it was
Gaming.
Treves.
Yeah, Treves was in there. Purple Shift was also in there. TCM Gaming Season 4, but they didn't qualify the finals. Yeah. But, I mean, there's a couple of players, I think, in Ding one or two who play in the UK, but they're Russian speakers.
Okay.
So, I don't know if they got a passport or whatever.
Well,
I don't know even how that works, to be honest. But
brilliant. Anyway, of course, their opponents, while we talked about the vote a little bit here as well, Ding have put up some good results as well. But maybe they just have another chance to endear themselves to such a wide range of people. Of course, last season was a bit up and down, so kind of hard to maybe put your money behind them, as it were, for theoretically speaking. But of course, first map's going to be Prokhorovka. We're going to be jumping into game very, very shortly as the teams are ready, from what we can tell. I'd like to kick off with a bit of Prokhorovka. I think it also gives you a very accurate cross-section of of the health of a team or how they're looking by going on this map as well, because it's quite possible to be that tactical team that wants to play for the objectives, or that team who actually just wants to fight. And then you have teams like Tornado Rocks who, you know, they see Kazna coming towards them. In a split second, they've made their decision, and they managed to turn this nasty situation into one that actually is good for them over time, though. That's some of probably one of the most impressive parts of what we saw from Rocks in that game earlier on. So I think Strong Sierra, if they're going to win here, they're going to be close games. But if they lose, I don't think they'll be close. I think they'll just get rolled over the top off, especially on a map like this. If we see like a Ghost Town or a Himmelsdorf, might be a bit of a different story. But on Prohorovka, Oliver, I don't know what you think, but I probably wouldn't really put too much behind Strong Sierra on a map like this one, from what we've seen so far.
I reckon Prokhorov and Mines have probably been the two most picked maps this season, especially Proc. It seems to be a fan favorite. And it's not really a surprise. It's a great map to see. And in previous season where Prokhorovka was a map, it was also pretty popular. So I don't know. I think Strong Sierra, they've had a couple of interesting tactics. They've gone towards that left side. They've been aggressive up there. They play through the middle. But I mean, we've seen Ding beat Tornado in their previous game. They've played very well this season. They're second in that leaderboard, excluding today's match and today's matches, and they are, you know, looking to be one of those top teams. And let's be honest here, Ding should have been one of those top teams, at least the top 6 finish for them in the previous season, but they had such a bad start to their season. They never got themselves onto their high horse. They never started to go into the right direction, and that cost them dearly, and I think they just kept on slipping. But they've had the right start here. They've got no excuses anymore.
Right. Now, Melly, of course, just kidding. Poor Millie, she sat in the corner with her mic up so we don't hear her because she's setting stuff up on the social media thing. And as soon as I say your name, she's
I was
like,
constantly watching you guys. It's not like you caught me off guard or something, no.
just having a bit of fun, guys. Of course, like in between the games, Melly has to do our social media stuff, so I just keep you on your toes. Anyway, let's jump into this one in a second. We're just waiting for Strong, for Ding, to get their last player by the looks of things in towards this one as well. So we'll start to see some of the tank picks here as well in a moment. We'll have the graphic for you, and very diverse lineup here for Strong Sierra.
Yeah, super diverse with all those STB stacks. Brilliant. I mean, to be fair, it's becoming a little bit normal, and the STB probably being the best medium tank in the game. It's maybe not such a big surprise. Of course, it's not going to make them that flexible. For instance, we saw Tornado with those T1 10E5s being extremely effective in the previous round. So yes, they do a lot of damage. Yes, they have a decent amount of HP. Yes, they can bounce some shells. But when you look into a wider spectrum, it's actually a little bit better to have some diversity in your lineup.
Yeah, is it? In your opinion, a bit unimaginative to maybe go for these STBs? What I mean, does it tell you much in terms of a strategy, or do you really think it's just going to be YOLO Swaggins coming out here from Strong Sierra?
Well, I mean, it doesn't really show us what tactic they want to use, to be fair. I mean, playing through the middle would be the logical one with that gun depression, but yeah, I guess so. But I still prefer to have some diversity. I prefer Ding's lineup, if I'm being honest with you. I think, for instance, we've seen the effectiveness of the Batchat in these games. We've seen the effectiveness of the IS-7 on this map. And yeah, we've seen a lot of STBs on top of that damage board, but doesn't always tell you the whole picture. It's more about a team game. It's not really about those individuals, which of course the STB is all about.
Well, this column of STBs plus Ahoyek in the 251 are just going to head off course to this western side of the map now. Now, of course, they're going to run in towards a bunch of Ding tanks as well, set up there, maybe to even receive a push of this kind. I don't know if they'll be ready for such aggression here. Now, Ahoyek won't be spotted until he gets a fair bit closer. Of course, moving removes your camo ratio by a heck of a lot. So he moves up towards the bush. He's not yet lit yet, as you can see Meritorious and Rakar are actually pushing up in those IS-7s towards the middle. But most of the force has been left back. Now, they've spotted steroids. First shots are exchanged. No damage being dealt here. And Ahoyek as well is actually just going to punch forward as well. Look for that column of tanks towards the back, but this might be his undoing. He's been spotted. His viewfinder as well has taken a lot of damage, and now Diplomat in response. He gets a lot back, and Ahoyek has done his job, at least for the most part, spotting most of these tanks sitting back in reserve. He will now drop, and Hunter Zord now can step up, can use the hull of that RU-251, and just have a little bit more cover.
Yeah, great stuff actually from Strong Simmer right off the bat. They've actually done a pretty interesting tactic. Meritorious going too aggressive, Murakar going very aggressive as well, and those two IS-7s are going to fall very quickly, but there are replies here from Ding.
Oh my god, but look at Strong Simmer, look how low they've gone. 4 tanks left. Ridiculous stuff here. I mean, Ding had 5, so it's not a huge advantage, but still, now, when push comes to shove, when the nose goes to the grindstone, as it were, it seems like Strong Simmer don't really have the backup or the depth that they're going to need here. They're just going to fight around this one little hull, and look at all these shots connecting here from Ding. They're making every bit of damage count. Catch Me is so low. In fact, they've caught him already easily enough, and there as well, Hunter's Ord to fall down. It's Wilson, and it's Speed. Speed's going to have to use some of just that to avoid getting taken out here, but the track is not going to help him. He drops down, and Wilson will have to await his fate. Ding have put it together quite nicely here, although Strong, with some good moves to start with, just couldn't carry out the mid to late round.
Yeah, I mean, they were going forwards. They got spotted early, and the RU-25 went down pretty quickly, and those two IS-7s being focused on allowed the rest of the tanks from Ding just to basically circle around and do a lot of damage to them as they went on the cross. So, I mean, yeah, an interesting tactic from Strong Simmer there, but the simple fact is that RU-251 wreck is just not enough cover for your whole team, basically. And yeah, okay, you can lose two IS-7s. Those IS-7s took a long time to kill. The 251 is not on a mouse. You know, you can't hide behind it that well. And just the firepower from a stationary Ding was just too much there for Strong Simmer.
So we're talking in sweeping terms here, of course, in general of why things went wrong for Strong Simmer. Are we able to pinpoint one specific move or moment where Strong lost this?
Yeah, I think they were when they were crossing to try and take down the IS-7s, they lost an STB. They're already about 1k HP behind, 1.5k HP behind. They took a lot of damage trying to take down those IS-7s. And then, you know, obviously once they pushed the IS-7s, which they successfully did, to be fair to them, the 3 STBs or whatever, which were behind the RU-251 wreck, were basically free on the market to take down. That's exactly what Ding did. Then they had the advantageous position. Stoik on the side there and the RU-251 as well, who basically didn't have time to get into the battle, started to pump damage into the sides. I mean, Rulzek, one of the new players for Ding, 3.1k in the STB. And Wilson, one player we haven't really seen a lot of from Strong Simmer this season, with 2.9k. But then we had, you know, Stu Rides with 400, who's been the best player for Strong this season. Lucas Shiasti, the ex-team captain of your panel squad, with 800. So, you know, even those IS-7s both did 900 plus damage each, even though they didn't survive for very long. So that's 2 shots, basically.
I mean, they at least are able to soak up plenty of damage as well, or at least some attention as well, which is very important when you have the firing squad of STBs and other lights in towards the back, just trying to capitalize on the attention being put towards those IS-7s. If I look here as well, I mean, those IS-7s didn't actually bounce anything really at all,
No,
but they just soaked up the damage and allowed the other tanks to do the work. Now, we see a big change of lineup here from Strong Simmer, Ollie, as they've gone. Well, actually, no, I'm lying. That's just exactly the same for them here as well. I mean,
I thought that was just a bit of sarcasm for you there.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Yeah, it got you back.
Yeah. But triple STB1. No IS-7s this time for Ding. So they're going to be throwing away that heavy armored core of their composition here and definitely going for a little bit more of a brawly, or at least a bit of a fast-paced battle lineup.
Yeah, I mean, they're going the attack, so maybe that's not so surprising. Takes a little bit longer to get into those key positions on this map, but straight off the bat, it looks like they are going for that left side, as we saw Strong Simmer do in that previous round. Maybe they're just going to play exactly the same tactic. Would be interesting, but of course Diplomat playing that bat chat might give them the advantage once again. Strong Simmer, on the other hand, starting from the north on the defense, pushing straight through the middle with their STB stack, and not messing about at all with these tactics. And to be fair, they will get there first. Murakar and International will be a little bit late to the party and not have those good positions right at the beginning.
No, a bit awkward, actually. Look where Hulknik and International are. If they want to join the rest of their team, they've got to cross over that crest. But no one from Strong Simmer was actually looking towards them. They haven't been spotted yet, so Strong Simmer not really recognizing them as a priority. In fact, looks like they'll be happy enough to stay there as well. They give themselves some decent coverage over the middle of the map. Hulknik can, as well, he can back up as well and be protected from Ahoyek out wide on that train line. But you can see he's trying to go for a bit of a flank in that RU-251. And these STB line up here as well for Strong Simmer. Maybe unimaginative, maybe they're just trying to make sure they've got the best tanks for the job. We'll have to wait and see now what the case is going to be here. This is Ahoyek as well, has got himself up behind an International in those first few trades, already taking quite a large amount of damage. And Ahoyek is not spotted from this position, mind you. So free to do damage as much as he likes. And Ding either have to guess where he is and protect themselves from those side shots, or they have to go and try and take him out. But I like this push here from Diplomat and Stoich up the side. But they've got to run into some trouble.
Exactly. They got the 2 STBs there, and there's no real support from Ding to help Diplomat and Stoich. Stoich's going to go down very quickly. But to be fair, I mean, Sturoid is spotted, and Catch Me will have a bit of a trouble getting him, and Catch Me will receive a lot of damage, but Stoich will go down, and it was a super obvious move there from Ding.
That right there was the first bit of damage Strong Sierra have taken all round. That was it. So they have done very, very well just to try and stay alive right now. Maybe Ding have just sort of beaten themselves here again. Kind of like how the way Kasna did on this particular map. And Strong Sierra now don't really have to do too much fancy stuff here. Just hit the old mouse one, and they're going to be laughing, I think. Rulzik is having to back away now as he's going to be descended upon by these STBs. And Diplomat's on reload, so forget about him. He's just going to be blown up in a couple of seconds here as well. Strong Sierra with actually one of the most commanding rounds that we've seen on Prohorovka in quite some time. And honestly, with all due respect to them, they didn't actually have to do a whole lot.
No, I mean, they had all the bases covered, it seemed to me. They thought they knew what Ding was doing. They did know what Ding was going to do. And yeah, I mean, they started to lose straight away. I'm not exactly sure what Ding was hoping for there. Yeah. Maybe they were expecting Strong Sierra to go on that right side. But then looking at the lineup with the full STBs, that's almost always going to be a middle push. So yeah, I mean, even with Stoich down south in the RU251, Ding were just consistently taking damage. And yeah, you saw the obvious move from Diplomat and Stoich to go forwards. Ojek actually in the RU251, Strong Sierra, of course. Stoich and Diplomat are going forwards in the RU251 in the bat chat. The 2 STBs were there. Great little covering fire there from Strong Sierra. Took down Stoich. Diplomat wasn't supporting at all. And yeah, I mean, it was a non-round. It was a void round from Ding.
Yeah, well, essentially, it's like they were barely there. And the first bit of damage going towards Strong Sierra happened after Ding had lost 5,000 health points. So already it was just, you're done. There's just no way of getting back. Your goose is pretty much cooked there, and there's just no way around it. You can see that, I mean, Ahoyak as well, sitting mid-table on damage with about 1,800. It's really, really interesting now how that lower tier tank that some teams bring in can just be quite relevant, because from tiers 8 to 10 as well, you can still be a real presence on the battlefield, especially if you play around your role correctly. And I'd like to think that Ahoyak has done just that. Ding hedged themselves into a very one-dimensional strategy, I almost feel.
Yep.
Obviously by pushing towards that western side and just sitting there. They weren't even on the road or right on the edge of the map. They were actually in towards the middle, with no inclination to go towards the eastern side at all, no inclination to have any sort of defense against a flanking 251, and then they pushed a 251 at bat chat in towards 2 STBs. And that's
not even a bat chat, they just put a 251, and then they were trying to make peaks against STBs which were in better positions because they're faster, because they start from the north, so they get further up the hill. So if you're going to peak, you're always going to receive the first shell. You got 6 STBs there, 3 STBs there, and 2 from the side. So you're going to lose that exchange every single day of the week. And yeah, so let's be honest. I mean, 2 quite different rounds on Prokhorovka, 1 apiece, both pretty decisive, I have to say. And now moving on to Ghost Town, which is more of a Strong Sierra kind of stronghold. But we've also seen some decent matches from Ding here. So I'd say we've got a pretty even matchup. Of course, we saw that pretty embarrassing round from Ding, I think, last week. I think it was from Ding. When they played up against... I'm not sure.
Against Rocks. It was Ding.
Rocks, yeah. Sorry.
So obviously, guys, in the tank selections, T57... obviously, it's the heavy, not the artillery. Obviously, which is like, what, tier 3 American artillery or something? Yeah, no one's going to take that. In a game like this, it is, of course, the tier 10. Auto-loading American heavy, packing a punch, and it's been good to see Meritorious actually always goes for that one on this particular map. So I feel like now, over towards Ghost Town, now this is a map where Ding also have had their own share of successes over the last couple of seasons. But Strong Sierra, if there's any, really think if there's any map they're going to really come out on top on, it's going to be this one. It's definitely not going to be the next 2. I'll give you that for free.
Exactly. So I really want to see if Strong Sierra can have a good few rounds on this one, and get a couple of rounds on the board. And well, Meritorious receives so much damage, and this is the map which, of course, Tornado Rock started to lose on against Ding in their previous match day, and Meri receiving like 1.1k. Not a good start, but Strong Sierra also exchanged a few shells in return. And this is an interesting lineup from Ding and an interesting tactic. They've got a couple of tanks in the cap, and they've gone really aggressively forwards to try and I don't know, stave off Strong Sierra from getting into that middle. or Northern Cap even.
Well, you'll see them as well flex a couple T-54s around the right-hand side, or the east side, if you look at the minimap. So we're on the cap. Now, maybe they're just going to push off there as well, because, of course, a few tanks from Ding have set themselves up in that north side. Now, obviously, already having Meritorious a little bit low and Hognik having taken some damage. Strong Siema maybe feeling good about coming forward, but there was two FV215Bs in front of him. But this is Ahoye Can Catch Me out towards the side. It's Stoik and Hognik there as well, who just have to sort of move away from this. I don't really know if they fancy it. Hognik's on reload, but not for long.
Yeah, Hognik's going to come off reload, and Ojek is in big trouble. And this is just fights on every single corner of the map, but you can see Ding so far ahead on HP. Those two FV215Bs have done a great job of keeping Strong Siema at bay.
This is really impressive. After a bit of a shaky start, Ding have just been able to stabilize themselves and find a strong foundation out which to put some damage across. Speed on the T-57 Heavy takes out his opposite number, but there's Hognik as well. Wants to ram on towards Catch Me. He has used all of his shots now, and Stoik should be able to deal with Catch Me here as well. It's a tier advantage for Catch Me. He might bounce a shot here, but no. Stoik gets the finish, and that's Wilson and Hunterzord, the last two standing, and they have three tanks looking straight at them, and even International in the IS-7 will be able to flex around the side. Hunterzord is ammo racked, which is just the worst thing that could happen to an E4. The reload time is so long.
Yeah, he's talking about 30-second reload now in that E4.
Bugger that.
That's going to be game over, of course. I mean, Ding so far ahead in terms of HP. I love the kind of defensive play they showed there. They were just able to suppress Strong Siema from every single corner. Strong with a good start onto Meritorious with like 1.1k, 1.2k damage onto that T-57 Heavy. Sitting themselves in that cap, Strong Siema, then they decided to try and take down the two FV215Bs. They did a great job of keeping the aggressing force at bay and tracked, and then they could just go around the corner and stay hull down. So I'd love that move. You know, also the 251 and the 50B of Hognik, being able to keep those T-54s at bay was also great until their team could provide support. So, yeah, really nice defensive play by Ding.
Yeah, funny. Things started off a little bit ugly there for Ding. And do you know what? Actually, it played out the very similar way up against Rox on this map. Meritorious took the first shots, but what happened, obviously, for Rox is they tried to push Meritorious and he backed off and they did the damage. Here, it was a little bit different. It was a bit strange, actually, for Strong Siema to just establish themselves like 5 or 6 tanks smack bang in the middle of the map on that point number 2. While that happened, there was a northern capture underway from Ding. They were able to set up there and apply some pressure. Strong tried to flex 254s around. They ran into a 251 and a 50B. I mean, and that's a kind of interesting matchup there in itself. You could break that one down all you like, but the 54s lost out in the long run because of the 50B able to just burst away at them. And then Ding just holding so well in the north as well. I don't really know what the idea is with Strong putting 5 tanks in the middle. I mean, yeah, they're trying to be aggressive and force off that middle cap, but you give away so much information.
But they could have just stayed there. They didn't stay there. They pushed forwards.
Well, the cap was underway, I guess, in the north was the problem.
Yeah,
15 seconds left.
Yeah, but that was, I mean, the Strong Siema were on the attack, so it was Ding defending. So, you know, Strong Siema could have just stayed in cap number 2. And, you know, it didn't matter if Ding were up in the northern cap, right?
Well, I mean, the thing is that, no, Ding were attacking last round.
Yeah, yeah.
So they were putting on the northern cap.
Yeah, but why would Strong Siema send all their tanks in the middle? I mean,
that's my point.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I understand you now. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, they should have just, you know, I mean, we've seen that on Ghost Town the whole time, right? It's not necessary about sending all your tanks into one place, like let's say Himmelsdorf. You've got to win the exchanges from multiple corners.
Strong Siema now find themselves at a 1-round deficit with a underwhelming performance on the defensive side. Now attacking, maybe there's just more reason to put 5 tanks on a cap. Maybe we can allow that in this particular situation. But I don't know if they'll even go for it here. Maybe a little bit burnt from that last round. Stoik straight away spots Catch Me. Misses the first shot. He is then lit, of course, as the camo rating of that tank is completely negated after firing. But he'll probably just duel with Catch Me for a little while here. 251 on paper doesn't have the advantage against a 54. It's only a tier 8 up against a tier 9. 54 has a bit of a harder head. 251 there as well. We'll just try and back off and keep him busy, but he does need to keep tabs on Catch Me. And, you know, Stoik really needs to be aware of what the T-54 can do if he gets around or behind enemy lines.
Exactly. The T-54 is just a great probing tank. We've seen it be pretty successful in this map. Same with the RU-251, and they're both heading towards each other, both spot each other at the same time. So they are now aware that they're trying to probe on that same side. But yeah, Ding just very, very preemptively sitting up north, trying to keep that cap number 1 safe. Obviously, Strong CMA, Utopia, those kind of teams have previously been more northern cap inclined. They've got the FE215B, the T57 Heavy as well, sitting up and towards cap number 2. They're going to be holding that down in those positions so they can at least decap when they want to. But Strong CMA, on the other hand, sticking together. They got the Conqueror, so they got a lot of HP on their lineup for an attacking team, and don't really seem to know where to go right now. Just waiting for their T54 to maybe push that RU251 into a different position.
Strong probably just want to gain a bit of information right now, but part and parcel of both teams going to opposite sides of the map means that is a little bit hard to get. Storky's been trying to do just that now. Of course, being denied on that western side of the map by the 54 of Catch Me means that he has to go maybe to the west and hope to spot something here. But this works for Ding. They're happy enough to allow Strong CMA to take their time, because obviously Strong have to be the ones getting aggressive here. And Steroids now making his way up on towards this higher ground, out towards the side of this middle part of the map here. Hoping to maybe spot something on that cap point number 2. Or you can see where he's looking as well. So looking for maybe, you know, a lone. Some teams put Conquerors in the position that Steroids is looking towards, or just like a one relatively durable tier 9 or something at least to hold position. But Steroids has been spotted, but he has managed to spot 3 of those Ding tanks up in the north. Now, Strong CMA, the information flowing in, and they can start to act on it.
Exactly, they can start going forwards, and Steroids is doing a great job here of keeping Ding at bay, or at least not allow them to go forwards. But let's be honest here, with the E100, the FE215B, it looks to me like Ding is just playing the positional game. Anyway, you see an E100, you know for sure that the team just wants to hold this position. They don't want the other team to come forwards, and they want to be holding the corners. So this is exactly what Ding are doing. Catch Me, though, having a great angle onto the side of Meritorious, who was trying to peek up against Ojek in the E100. And it's got to be careful as shells do start flying. A nice little roll from the T57, as it looks like Strong Team are finally starting to make up their way up that western flank.
Yeah, but to what end here? Maybe they fancy a fight on this road here as well, but they're going to be running into a lot of enemy tanks. Hunter Zord there as well. Remember, you can't pick corners easily with a 215B. You have to go for some sort of side scrape, but obviously not really great for the 215B here. Do they have space side armor?
No.
No, so obviously that's not really the best way to do it, but of course this is the safest way for Hunter Zord to poke the smallest amount of his tank around a corner while being able to still see down there. And it works out, he gets a shot there towards Hulknik, but Strong CMA straight away see that the majority of Ding's force is set up there, but Hunter Zord doing some work here as well. Got to hand it to the guy, getting some damage done.
Yeah, I mean, he can still side scrape. Side scraping is, it wasn't started when Space Armor started. It was started when the mud flaps of the mouse could get penetrated, so you had to side scrape it to keep those mud flaps safe. It's kind of like a fix for the game in some respects when that was still a bug. So Lukashevsky coming around from the corner, and yeah, I have to say, great little peeks up from Strong CMA, doing good damage. Rulzek, though, getting the better of Hunter Zord there with a nice little surprise angle. And Ding just sitting back, wanting to hold these positions, but having to deal with an IS-7 hull down, having to deal with a Conqueror hull down, like, that's never going to work out. You're going to lose a lot of HP. The only real saving grace I see here for Ding is that RU251 starting to make its way into the back of that flank, and that might start causing trouble for them if they don't push soon.
It does look like Stoik has finally managed to make some progress there as well, but still a lot of fighting around this middle of the map, and Stoik has spotted Ahoyek there. Might not act on that information for now, but at least be able to radio forward some communication. And his Steroids and Wilson as well were challenged earlier on, I think, by I think even Diplomat or Mrakar or someone like that, and they actually managed to get the better of them. So Strong CMA probably feeling pretty confident right now, because all the trades, by and large, have gone in their favour. And they are getting closer towards that middle cap. But Ding, this static positioning from them seems to actually be garnering them more damage than not. They're trying not to be sort of forced to make any sort of moves here, but you can just see that. Strong CMA can just take chunks out of them every single time they come forward.
Exactly. That Diplomat gets saved by his side armor there. Not that time, though. Hansel doing great work. But still, like, I mean, what's Strong CMA really doing with their advantage? They're 2k HP ahead. They got 3 minutes and 54 seconds left to do something here. And they're not at the end of the day. International still got HP. Meritorious, Mrakar, they've all got HP. And that's where most of Strong CMA are actually poised to push on. So they've really got to come up with something, some sort of angle. For me, it does revolve around speed, because he's playing the AMX-50B like he needs to go in, be doing a lot of damage and just pushing on. But you can see Sting has spotted speed, and they spotted him going towards Huntsword, Wilson, and Sturide, so they can guess that they're going to push soon, and that's why they've fallen back.
So Strong Simmer now have control of the middle of the map. They've been able to work around from both those little corners here, and the trades are still going in their favour by a lot, a lot. There's some shots towards speed, and Wilson does take a fairly big hit as well. Meritorious now wants to come forward and put some damage across, but you can see the focus of Strong Simmer is straight towards International. Here's a one-shot. Hunter Sword there as well, actually bounced his shot, unfortunately, and that's Wilson going down in that Conqueror. Catch Me though, off towards the side. He's picked up International. Rakar fancies Lucasiasti for dinner. Rulzik now wants to go in that direction, but he's been chased down. It's going to be Hunter Sword as well, the author of his destruction, and Ding are really starting to languish behind in terms of these health points right now. None of those big tanks are looking overly healthy at all have about a K each, and this is an overmatch here for Strong Simmer, at least in this part of the map. You can see that Ahoyek there also being drawn into his own little overmatch scenario, not ideal. And he might drop if he's not careful. Stoic now just knows he needs to really start to flex his muscles a bit and make his presence known. He's broken cover. He's trying to get some sort of flank on, get some damage across the table and try and keep Ding in this one.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, at the end of the day, Strong Simmer, they got the overmatches, right? They were pushing around the corners, and the few overmatches Ding got, 1 or 2, was simply not enough. And Catch Me finds Diplomat nicely in that IS form. With him, I feel the last hope for Ding is extinguished.
Hulknik has a long reload time in that E100, and he is the last big tank up for Ding. Strong Simmer, this is what many would call their home map, and they've done well here on the attacking side. They're just taking strips off of Ding every time they're peaked, getting good trades early on, which is honestly something that they haven't done a great job of in the past, but you've got to say that their composure in this particular map has been good. Now Strong, of course, go for the cap. It's in the north. Stoic has 15 seconds to circle around and try and reset here, but he's going to be he's got his work cut out for him, I'll say that much.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a good job. I think he probably should have been a little bit more aggressive. I have to say, 1.2k HP. You never want to have a tank despite its tier on full HP at the end of the round. I think he should have gone in and helped his team out in some of those overmatches. That might have seen Hunter Sword and Aerojet go down. Catch Me also being close to a one-shot. Not good at all, and he gets his timing wrong even here to try and reset this cap. Yeah. So you can see maybe some of those elements of Ding still not quite all synchronizing well together, but Strike's had some great rounds on Himmelsdorf. He's done 3,000 plus, 3,500 plus damage, so maybe he just had a bad round there. But looking through the damage quickly, no one from Ding really performing. Then we have, Sturides in the IS-7 doing great work. Hunter Sword as well, so you saw him side-scraping the FE215B doing good stuff as well. And I think, Ding fell into that classic trap of just sitting in the middle and just being allowed to get peeked on from multiple angles. And then they had like an E100 off to the side, the RU251 off to the side, Diplomat as well off to the side, and it allowed, great forward motion there from Strong Simmer just to push onto those FE215Bs and take them out.
It does seem like a lot of teams, Oliver, struggle to find a happy medium on the defensive side of being aggressive and too passive. I mean, we've seen some teams that just push out really, really hard. I mean, Strong Simmer are a decent example of that on their defensive side. They went straight forward in towards the middle of the map. They gave their position away, and then they just tried to funnel in towards Ding there as well. So tough stuff for them as well. Really, didn't make it any easier. But then Ding as well, playing the opposite end of the spectrum here, going super passive, giving their position away. Of course, you saw that one peak, I think it came from Steroids or one of those tanks where he lit up a couple of E100s and they knew straight away, all right, here's the core of Ding up towards the north. Now let's encroach on their territory and start to get those flanking shots on.
Exactly. I mean, it was classic Ghost Town play there from Strong Simmer. But now we're moving on from Muravanka. Maybe one of the more popular maps. I guess we've seen it.
I like it.
We've seen it, I guess, as almost as much as Cliff. Really, the map we're not seeing a lot of is Ruinberg. I guess that's the least popular this season. So it's a good map, I have to say. I think a lot of the teams feel a little bit uncomfortable on it, and it's probably one of those maps we'll get to see a little bit more of towards the end of this season even.
We'll see how people develop, of course, towards that one. Melly, very ready, of course, for me to throw over to you. On point there, I like it. Votes closed, and I mean, I was quite surprised to hear what the voting percentage was to start with. I mean, give us an update on that one if you can.
I mean, it's pretty much almost the same score as from the start, but, well, the fractions shifted somehow. 45% for Strong and 55% for Ding. And if we check the exact predicted results, it seems like it's going to be a very long game because a lot of people at least predict a 5-3. If not a 5-4, so Today's kind of reversed.
Well,
Opposite day.
I don't know,
Yeah.
Oliver. What do you think about that? Is it a reasonable? Now seeing what we've seen, at least, do you reckon this one might go to that game 9? Do you reckon it will go close? Muravanka now coming up here as well. What do we think about Strong Sima on this one?
We haven't seen a lot of them on this map. To be fair, they've just not been good this season. So like anything we have seen them on has not been particularly impressive. Ding have been pretty good here, so I think Ding should take the series. But I mean, the 768, we can only see it's a lot more unpredictable than any other previous formats. And sometimes you have a good day, sometimes you have a bad day. Sometimes the other team just manages to counter exactly what you're playing. There's a lot of anti-strategies, a lot of individual plays that make a huge difference as well. So, yeah, I think it could go either way. But right now, I still think Ding's the better team.
Yes, well, let's see how that one goes. The vote has closed, of course. The next vote will be up in a few minutes, so stay tuned on facebook.com/WGLEU. And of course, get involved via Twitter. Use the hashtag WGLEU. And if you want to rewatch the VODs from the past match days, not now, of course, because we're still in the middle of our tank action of today, you can head over to youtube.com/WGLEU. It's always /WGLEU, as you might have noticed. And subscribe to our YouTube channel to get emails as soon as we upload the new VODs, and you won't miss anything and will always know what you could do in, for example, breaks or when you're at home and TV is getting boring. That's always a nice option.
And you're missing some solid War Gaming League action. Speaking of which, we are into Muravanka now as well. We'll throw you straight in towards the game, with no pleasantries really needs to be exchanged here. And the same is to be said for these two teams. A lot of STVs being brought into the mix here. It's Strong Sima, they're defending in the red, and Ding coming forward, attacking in the blue.
Yeah, pretty light lineup from Ding. And same goes for Strong Sima. No real heavy tanks like we've seen in the past. We've seen IS-7s from the attackers. We've seen T-110s supported quite frequently from the defenders. But looks like same as Prokhorovka on the open maps. Just the normal high DPM, high damage, easy to play tanks like the 140 and the STV being utilized by both teams. But yeah, pretty typical start here. Ding going forwards. They are leaving their STBs and their bad chats around the side, so maybe just trying to catch out Ding a little bit here. And of course, Diplomat can't really push onto Eojek. If he does, there's a little bit of support from the back from Lukashevsky in speed.
Yeah, ballsy play from Eojek there. I can definitely appreciate some of that as he went forward to get those early spots. And like you said, good backup for him. It's a firing squad, in fact, of STB1 sat up on top of that hill, just waiting for someone from Ding to show themselves. Now, International is lit as he tries to back away. Hunter Zord may have a shot. He does, and connect that one. One comes back very, very quickly from Rakar as well, but it is not going to connect. And it's pretty even damage trades early on in the piece here. 2 tanks on either team, taking 1 hit each. But it's Ding now that really have been denied any sort of progress on this western side of the map, really. For them to come forward now is quite dangerous, given that Rakar is perpetually, it seems, lit. And although Hunterzord is as well, he's got a fairly strong position there. So Strong Sima denying this from Ding. And Ding now have to maybe go towards a bit of a plan B. Yeah,
so I mean, Ding just, to just be honest here, playing super passively. I mean, they're sitting back, waiting for Strong to go forwards. I don't know why Strong could go in forwards, if you ask me. I mean, they could just sit there, wait for Ding to be the aggressive. They are the attackers, so this just seems suicidal from Strong Sima. They have got control of that cap. Maybe they expected a tank there to be for a tank to be there from Ding, but there was nothing, and they lose Ojek for it.
I'm definitely not sold on that aggression coming forward at all, really, with that 251. I don't know why it's necessary to do that, but see, Strong still want to keep the pressure up here. They want to come straight forward towards Ding. Diplomat early on was the focus of that fire, but he's been able to sneak around the corner, and he wants to stay alive as long as he possibly can. But Catch Me there walks into the sights of many of those guns. He's hit very, very hard, but so is Makar as well. You can see Strong Sima managing to try and focus some fire down, getting some good damage across. They found Makar. Maybe Rulzik or Holknik next as Meritorious and Hunterzord are locked in a battle to the death on the other side. But Diplomat able to roam 3 up on the side as well. He's in that autoloader. He can help burst down steroids, but Strong Sima, they're not going to stop there. They're coming forward, but they're going to run out of gas.
Look how much good directional firepower those Strong Sima have. They're just getting the overmatch perfectly. It was a 5 versus 5 situation, and they won it quite easily. Okay.
Wow.
You know, the fact that they have the Batchat and the STB didn't really help them out, but just very poor play here from Ding. But it's still up in the air. I mean, a full HP batch, AMX 3090 and Meritor is pretty healthy.
Yeah, he's looking at right. I mean, Ding have more health than Stroxima, but so many guns going towards Meritorious that he's going to go very, very low. Meri probably needed to put at least one more hit in towards the enemy to guarantee that Stoik could actually somehow get it clean up. But he's on the 3090 here. They're going to burst him down so quickly. Wilson, the Ram comes in, just trying to hit whatever shots he can, but now with only a few left, there was chances for Ding. There were plenty of them. And Stroxima, honestly, that's why I said when I was casting, I was like, they're going to run out of gas, because I saw these 4 or 5 tanks come forward, all go down to about 400 HP, and I'm like, this could go either way. But it was in a pinch. They're managing to come out on top with a couple more guns in the game, a few more tanks up. A good focus fire, really. That's the problem here. Ding did a good amount of damage, and you saw a lot of Stroxima tanks that are low. But at the end of the day, Stroxima had low tanks, but more, because their focus fire was better. Like you were pointing out as well, that Ding were a little bit sloppy there, had a chance to bring it back in. But the Polish squad showing us how to brawl here quite nicely. I mean, those STB1s suiting them a lot here, going away from the heavier sort of compositions that would favour last season, seems to be suiting them well, taking those STB stacks.
Yeah, I mean, really good individual play there from Stroxima. Speed doing 3.1k, 3 kills, Hansel 2.5k, but I mean, it was a 5 versus 5 situation. And okay, maybe they weren't all STBs there for Ding, but still 5 versus 5. Mm-hmm. And they had the MX 3090 alive, and Ojek had already fallen, so that was like a whole different angle they could have come from behind, obviously. Mm-hmm. And it was at the end. I mean, it was 1 STB versus 3 STBs. Like, they won that so easily there, Stroxima. Hunter's Ord was low, and Meritorious took ages to take him down. You had the batch out of Diplomat again, just not playing very well, just being out of the game a little bit, trying to come from a different angle after reloading. I guess that was a problem for them. It was 5 versus 5, but with a reload. And Ojek, the MX 3090 of Ding just should have been in that battle a little bit earlier.
So let's now dive into this one, of course. As our take picks come up, and the Poland ball not surprising us too much. Now think of it, looks like Electrode with a hat, but I digress. Here is a bunch of STB ones here. In fact, the same lineup for them. It is Electrode?
Who is Electrode?
The Pokemon. The one that looks like a Pokeball, but the one that evolves.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
It does look a little bit like him, I guess. Yeah, it does, yeah.
There you go. That being said, I mean, it's a red and white, so it's not that hard to make that comparison. But Ding coming out with a lot of STBs themselves, and the Leopard, I like to see this tank. What I like more than seeing this tank, Ollie, is I like to see it used well.
Yeah, I think we've seen it maybe once or twice being utilized effectively on this one, and it's just basically been exclusively used on this map. I think we saw it in Mines and Cliff even once or twice, and Prokhorovka once or twice, so... Yeah, let's see how it works out for Rulesek. He's going to that standard position to try and snipe across. And we can see Stroxima with a very heavy stack along that one line. We've seen this tactic from them before, but it didn't work out last time. Let's see if it can work more effectively. You got the STB of Steroids to the right, rest of the tanks to the left, and they got the tier 8 tank down south. And, it's going to be about... I would have put that tier 8 tank into cap number 2, and then send the tanks in through the one line, but looks like they're given the game away a little bit here, and Ding are pretty far forwards.
They are, for now at least. You can see Stoik is, well, yeah, it's fairly aggressive position there, I think, compared to what we've seen before. Stoik, of course, in the RU251 has just taken control of that area here. Now, if I've seen Stroxima before, I have on this one, yeah. They actually got around in their last game on Muravanka by setting these STBs up and just punching down the one line and going for a push. And from there, it just seemed to work out quite nicely for them. It was against Rusty Roster. They got the attacking round here on this map. So I wouldn't put it past them. I feel like from what we've seen, Ding is a little bit of a higher caliber team than Rusty Roster, but today maybe might be an exception, as Ding haven't really lived up to the expectations following their big win last week. But I feel like Stroxima will probably gather here in that corner at C1 and maybe make a push forward. They have split a 30-90 out towards the side, and even Hunter's Ord in the 140 to join. So maybe some sort of pincer maneuver straight down the one line and maybe through the 8 to try and get towards those tanks sitting at the back. Maybe even try and jump on that Leopard and get Rulesek out of the mix early on. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, so, I mean, right now the obvious move would be to take down Meri and International for Stroxima. But they've got a bit of a timer in that because of Stoik and Diplomat rotating around. Ojek might just be able to take down Stoik if there's no support from the background from Diplomat. but you can see he's immediately running away as soon as he gets spotted, and Hunter Sword's going to be there to try and support his buddy. So we've got a very light lineup from Ding, and a lot of angles covered, but a lot of weaknesses as well. So I think if StrongShimmer can just be aggressive and just go for something, I think they could easily catch out Ding whilst they rotate around the map. And yeah, okay, Diplomat's now heading towards the middle. I think they're slightly aware of their weaknesses in their lineup and maybe their positions, but still there's opportunities here for StrongShimmer.
It's interesting to see an attacking team, Oliver, spread so much over this northern side of the map. I mean, it was like they're backed up, but now they're going for something again. They're going to push forward here. Wilson punished with a bit of damage going over towards him, but just more of a scratch at this stage. Or a flesh wound at that. Meritorious even able to avoid some damage coming in towards him, and it is the push for StrongShimmer on towards his cap. But this could be dangerous because Ding have control of the high hill and the middle of the map. They're going to push Hunter Sword in from behind as well and see what they can do with that tank coming in from the side, but it's Wilson taking a lot of damage. Meritorious, though, finds himself in no man's land on these 3 STBs now. When the going gets tough, these guys have to get going, but Hulkney comes in from the high ground. Meritorious and International, though, they're going to get collapsed on.
There's so much damage just going towards those 2 tanks. They're obviously a big weakness, but still, misses left, right, and center for StrongShimmer. Takes them a little bit long, a little bit of a meal. Hunter Sword also goes down in the middle, so it's 5 versus 5.
5 versus 5 it is, and bear in mind as well, Diplomat in that bat chat, when he's on reload like now, he's not a lot he can do, and these STBs can just continue to run wild. Stoik is tracked up, shot towards him from behind, bounced by, I think, the 1390, and Diplomat just has to be out of the match here as well. Luckily, Ding have been able to do so much work, even without that bat chat on load. Rulzik untouched so far, sitting back, laying damage down from a distance, getting his snipe on, but he'd be ill-advised to try and take the 1v2 here. He's looking for speed, or Lucasiasti somehow absorbs that shot in towards his tracks, but he needs some support if he wants to go for that kind of fight. Mrakara still trying to make himself known, and Diplomat, oh dear, he's off reload and he's coming to finish these 2 off.
Yeah, it's 2 versus 1, but yeah, Diplomat just going straight in. Ojek as well just hasn't been taken out, but Diplomat on the charge.
He's going to push straight through as well. Rulzik may drop here as well. Maybe he knew that beforehand going in towards his fight, but there's his shot. As Diplomat on towards speed. Lucasiasi now going to go down as well, and Ahoyek over in the middle of the map. He's caught in, I guess, a battle for life and death there with another of those STBs, if I'm not mistaken. So he's in trouble as well. And it's going to be a 3-3 scoreline here, Oliver. It's tit for tat, back and forth stuff here. And, well, I mean, I'm not super convinced by Ding here, but they've held on fine.
Yeah, I mean, they really did sustain through a lot of different angles of pressure. And despite you losing those 2 STBs in the middle at an early stage, they still managed to win that round. And, you know, I thought once they lost those STBs, it would have been game over, but the pressure just stopped there from StrongShimmer. They had Ojek in the middle for a long time live in that AMX 1390, but they lost Hunter Sword in the Object 140. I got a feeling that they should have had a bat chat there instead. And, yeah, I mean, I like the way that Ding still controlled the higher grounds, made shots over towards the pushing StrongShimmer guys, and they just made sure that we're going to have to flex out and towards the middle at some point, but we're still going to control the key points of this map.
So let's talk about that middle round, that main push coming out from StrongShimmer. We saw towards the start of the round, they'd already pushed a 1390 out wide, and they pushed a 140 as well of Hunter Sword to join him. But we saw those 3 STBs push on towards the cap and just try and set up, and then even push a little bit more forward. It seemed like it was okay because they managed to isolate a couple of those Ding tanks, but the damage was just so consistent coming in. I mean, is there a better way of going about this? Do you even go for a push like this? Maybe would you have preferred to see them work more towards the forest side, or was it really one of the few options that they had?
I think StrongShimmer should just been more together. They should have just been able to push those. It was 3 versus 2, but it should have been like 4 or 5 versus 2. Take down those STBs, get control of the middle, and then they should leave, like, I don't know, an AMX 1390 or something back, you know, like another STB,
sure,
to control that fish tower. As that means they can get control over the middle slightly, and then they can just put pressure on in the cap. And, you know, I think, you know, Rulzik being allowed to go forwards there and, you know, aggressively go forwards in that Leopard 1 cost StrongShimmer that round. I just thought they were a little bit wayward in some of the tactics there. So, yeah, I mean, it's been tit for tat, and we're going to be moving on to Mines, our next map, with a 3-3 scoreline. So this is, to be fair, one of those maps where we see like one team being significantly better than the other. So let's see if Ding or StrongShimmer are that team.
Yeah, you're right. It's funny. It's never really a close contest towards the end of the round. So much damage gets puts across on this map that one team is just so crippled by the end of the round that there's just no way of getting back in. So maybe that will be the case here. Those first few salvos, ladies and gentlemen, are going to be exceedingly important. Let's see what they can produce for us here. As on the attack side, it's going to be Stroxium, but defending will be Ding. The 62A for Meritorious. Thumbs up to you, my friend. But fairly balanced, fairly similar lineups from both teams here.
Yeah, pretty standard stuff here on Mines. Nothing particularly amazing, but Diplomat and Stoik, because they're in the fast attack, do get on the hill, but Diplomat speed just cancel out Stoik there. But this is just going to be a brawl here from Strong.
Absolutely messy stuff, but Stroxium has seemed to obtain the Wild Bronco of this fight for now. Dinger taking a lot of damage, and it just keeps coming. International going very, very low down towards that one.